Hello everybody, my name is Bill and this is SixRounds Studio. Today I have a topic that I'd like to talk about, and it's one that is somewhat passionate to me, and it's one that I hear a lot of confusion on depending on where you are, who you talk to. This video was something I was going to make just for my patrons over on Patreon, and it has to do with a subject or a series of videos that we're making on caring for and cleaning your vintage firearms. And this came up as part of an interesting conversation that I had with a customer over at the retail store. And that customer had brought in an 1865 Sharps, just like this one. And he was wondering if I had a particular part that he was looking for that firearm, and I didn't. But we got to talking about the Sharps. We got to talking a little bit about collecting. And I was looking at the rifle, and it was clear to me that this rifle was just really dirty and needed to be clean. Now, I'm not talking about the internals. I don't know about the internals, but I was looking at just the outside of the rifle, and it was clear to me that it needed to be clean. And I offered to show him a technique for getting some of that dirt off, and he literally got very animated, and he said, "You will not touch my firearm." And I said, "No, that's fine." I said, "It was just an offer. I wasn't going to force this on you." And I said, "What is your reluctance?" And he says, "That's patina." And he says, and he fashioned himself to be somewhat of a informed higher end collector. And he said, "I spend a lot of time on forums." And he said, every forum that I'm on, every collector forum I'm on, they say that if anybody touches these firearms, if anybody cleans these firearms, they're removing the patina. And I realized at that point there was nothing I was going to say that was going to change his thoughts, change his beliefs. So I just let it go. But it got me to thinking more about what is the definition of patina? What is the definition of dirt? And I've been doing this for a long time, a lot of years, and I've been fortunate enough, and I've had the opportunity to work with some very knowledgeable curators and restoration experts, and I've had the opportunity to sort of pick their brains and learn so much from them. I've also had the opportunity to spend time with other collectors, and I'm talking guys or girls whose passions are these older vintage firearms. So I got to thinking about what is patina and how do you define it. And I want to sort of explain that. I want to talk about what it is that I perceive real patina to be. And for me, it's not that overlying dirt. Now, whenever you go in and you decide you're going to clean an old vintage firearm, do you need to be respectful of its history, of its age, of what it's been through over time? Absolutely. Now, let's talk about dirt. If you have a firearm, handgun, a rifle, a bow and arrow, I don't care, and that rifle is caked with the dirt from Shiloh, or caked with the dirt from the Little Bighorn, then that certainly is a different discussion than dirt that's simply been the results of a firearm in storage or in the use of a single family or multiple families for generations. All right, that to me is a totally different discussion. So when we talk about patina, in most instances, the patina lives under the dirt. The dirt is not the patina. And then we need to understand what we're looking at and then be able to remove that dirt in a respectful, gentle way, so that at the end, what we're looking at is the underlying firearm as it's traveled through time. So let me give you a couple examples, if I may. I also have an 1865 Sharps. And when I got it, when it came in, it was black, just plain black. You could not know what was underneath all of that black. Now that black was just dirt. And here's an interesting thing. They do clean, okay, major artwork. So they have techniques and methods for cleaning major artwork. And I'm telling you, even in the art community, even in the restoration community, there are arguments to be had about when a cleaning has gone too far or when a cleaning hasn't gone far enough, even should you even touch them or clean them. But when a major art piece has gotten so dirty and so dingy and so faded that you can't even tell what the original artist intended or implied, then you're not looking at that piece of art the way the original artist did it, or what was in that original artist thinking when they did the painting or did the art or built that piece of furniture. Anyway, so you do, again, I'm going back and I'll stress that you need to be respectful. But when I got this Sharps, it was black. This thing has a marvelous bore, by the way. This bore is excellent, like excellent and new. But the outside was just black. So shortly after I purchased it, I wanted to go through it and kind of figure out what it was that I had. So I started using some of those cleaning techniques that I'm sharing or teaching over on Patreon. I started using some of those techniques, and I started first on the wood, and that wood went from being black to being the typical reddish brown or reddish color that is most wood that came out, or most wood stocks that came out of that period of time in American history. And it just started to brighten up and it cleaned up, and it didn't all come off because again, you try to be gentle. You don't want to be aggressive. You don't want to go to the point where you're pulling the underlying finish off, but you do want to clean it. But here's what ended up really being amazing. And it was not visible when I bought the rifle. This rifle has some of the most stunning, original color case finish that I've seen on an old firearm. I'm not saying this is exclusive. I'm not saying this is the only one. But it was just beautiful color case, and I'll show you here a close-up here in a second. It is simply, it's beautiful and it's original. There's some light pitting on the barrel, but we took some of that out. We cleaned that up as well, getting rid of that rust. But when we were done, this rifle, you can see what's underneath. You can understand the history of the firearm. You can understand its production. You can understand how it was built, how it was made, how it was left the factory. When you start looking at this color case, and the color case is extremely bright inside the cartridge, where the cartridge goes into the breech, but you can see what that color case looked like. So if you ever wanted to restore one of these, at least you now have something that you can look at to compare it to how they came out of the factory. If I hadn't cleaned it, that wouldn't have been visible. You wouldn't have known that. You would have just had a dirty old firearm. Another one that is really an important example of when it is dirt versus when it is patina. And this is an old Remington 511 22 bolt action. This is another one that came in, and it was the same thing. There was some rust scale on the barrel. There was just dirt. The stock itself, just like the Sharps, was black. It was just plain black, but I could see sort of peeking through that dirt what looked or appeared to be tiger stripe walnut, and I'm thinking, wow, you don't see walnut with tiger stripe that compact or that close together in these older firearms very often. But again, it was just a hint. So once I agreed to purchase the firearm, I started using my cleaning techniques, and first off, I started right on the gun stock. And again, this is just unbelievable. The tiger stripes that are on this piece of walnut. It's just, it's a beautiful, beautiful example. But if I hadn't cleaned it, it would have never manifested. It never would have shown. It would have just been this dingy old rifle, .22 rifle that goes on the rack for somebody to purchase. So we found that, and we only found it because we cleaned it. Then we started going after the metal a little bit because there was a little bit of rusty surface, if you will, a little bit of scale of rust on there. We went after that. We cleaned that up using, again, some fairly gentle techniques. This thing turned out to be just a beautiful rifle that is going to go for sale on the rack here eventually. So over on the Patreon page, what started all that was I had a customer who wanted to buy this model 1873. And I've talked about this before. I gave him choice of two prices. I said, you can buy it as is for this price, or if I do some basic cleaning, then I will charge you for that basic cleaning. And he agreed to do that. And I decided that would really be a good, this would be a good example to use over there on that Patreon page, using these techniques that I'm talking about on this 1873 as well. And again, this one also has a nice piece of tiger stripe walnut from back in the day, from back when this was built. And we're going to clean that up as well and get that so that the firearm actually looks good in this man's collection. And he is a collector, so he does trust me to do this in a way that doesn't devalue the firearm that he's purchasing. Anyway, so again, this is sort of a passion discussion for me because I've heard this so much, and it frustrates me so much that literally collectors will say, or people will say, don't clean it, leave it the way it is. Well, I don't agree with that theory. Now again, I prefaced this very early on, that there are times when you don't want to clean a rifle, or if you do, you want to use very specific, important conservation techniques. But most firearms, they came out of a family's collection. Most firearms, unless they're important, unless they belong to somebody, George Washington, or any important figure, or during any important event during American history, they're just firearms. And any firearm, we do it a better service by maintaining and managing it, as opposed to just leaving it in the closet and growing dirt and mold and all that other kind of stuff. So if this is a subject that you're interested in, if you have thoughts that you want to share, please don't be afraid to put them down in the comments. It's something that I'm passionate about, and perhaps maybe even you might be. Thanks for being here, guys. Appreciate you always. Got that Stephen's favorite. We're going to get back on that. I also got those three Mausers customs that my old man and my uncle built. We're going to do that video. That video is coming up as well. Thanks for being here, guys, and I will see you in the next video.